watching Social News.
You are watching Social News.
You are watching Social News.
You're watching Social News. You're watching Social News. You're watching Social English News.
You're watching Social English News.
You're watching Social News.
You're watching Social News.
She is
Elaine and he's
Eric.
For our past story today, we're talking about a 1,650 feet tall ladder made of fire and
A handwritten postcard pictured at World Stand Expo.
here's a piece of news to introduce Chai Guo-tang, a Chinese artist who created a ladder that was made of fire. It's 1,650 feet tall, containing 10 parts, a ladder, a hot air balloon, and lots of explosives. His concept is to suspend a ladder with plenty of explosives in the sky.
Wow, really?
Yeah! After his tremendous success of the fire ladder, he attended a TV show that featured his effort to achieve success through the documentary. The documentary is called Sky Ladder, The Art of Chai Guo-tang. In the film, it shows Chai's breathtaking gunpowder art, which indicates contemporary social issues and Eastern research. The crazy ladder resulted in a revolution among artists. Of course, there were various field works he had made before, but he gained some valuable experience from them. The creation wasn't just the ladder, but also the effort he has paid for years to elevate explosive art.
Here's another piece of news. There's an interesting exhibition, which is called World Stand Championship Exhibition, opening in Zhongshan Cultural Park. Its purpose is to encourage people to write more letters and cards. On the last day of the exhibition, Wang Shenzhe displayed his writing skills to urge people to write more cards. While attending the event, Owen Chang encouraged many participants to write cards to their loved ones on special days. So one of the participants said she doesn't write letters and cards often, but she'll try her best to write more in the future. The exhibition showcased special designs. There are 16 special mailboxes painted with pictures and designs from officially tribes in Taiwan. The event also featured augmented reality. And that's all for today's Sunshine News.
Thank you for tuning with us. Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
And see you again!
Bye-bye!
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
You are watching Social News. I'm Mandy Zhang.
I'm Jun Tao. Today's top story. Making out with your pet can cause serious problems. It seems harmless when you interact with your pet. But when it comes to cases, experts warn, beware of dogs. What's the harm? In fact, the mouth of most animals has many aromatic born of bacteria, viruses, and yeast in it. Dog saliva has proteins to help them heal and cleanse their own wounds. When they get hurt, some bacteria in dogs' mouths are zoonotic, which means these bacteria can cause disease to humans through our pets. Some common zoonotic bacteria can cause severe gastrointestinal disease in humans. So, should we let our dogs lick our face? The answer is positive. Actually, it's really hard to cause problems when dog's saliva touches healthy human skin because there will be very little absorption through the skin.
For next piece of news, study on cancer shed light on furthering HIV cure. HIV/AIDS is perhaps the most important global health crisis in modern history. Dramatic progress has been made in controlling the virus, but efforts to find a way cure are still in its infancy. In fact, Timothy Brown is known to be the only one to have been cured of HIV infection. But it is not a practical way for others to cure in the same way, because the process is dangerous and expensive. According to research findings, HIV cure is similar to cancers. They both need killer T cells to clear cancer cells. Therefore, advances in the cancer field may well provide inspiration for future directions of a strategy to guide those working towards an HIV cure. Thank you for your tuning in with us. Wish you a very pleasant day ahead.
Bye.
You are watching Songshan News. I'm Andrew Cheng. For our top story today, Obama's warning on UK trade is reality, US trade rep says. Mike Froman and President Obama warned that leaving the European Union would push Britain back off the queue. However, Boris Johnson, who is a Brexit supporter, indicated that Britain outside the EU would be free to swiftly pursue its own trade deals with the rest of the world. They criticized Obama intervention as a tactic aimed at scaring voters into choosing to remain in the bloc. 3 months after the UK voted to leave the European Union, European leaders are exhorting Prime Minister Theresa May to clarify her vision for Britain's future EU ties. Obama's admonition in April that the UK would be ranked the last in the US trade line is now in the real world, Froman said.
And I'm Josh Ho. For our another top story today, Italy earthquake strong tremors shake central region. Officials said there is a 5.5 magnitude earthquake shocks near vessels at 10 past 5 in the evening local time. There was a 6.1 magnitude tremors, followed after 2 hours later. Fortunately, there was only one person who was hurt and no reports of death. But another quake, which came 2 months after, shook slightly to the south, killing 298 people in total. The earthquake happened on Wednesday, were felt across central Italy as well as in the capital Rome. Officials said their emergency devices were still evaluating the situations in the stricken areas. The second earthquake was considered stronger than the first. One witness told a reporter that he saw part of a building collapsing in front of him. According to the one resident, everyone is leaving Camarinos by foot or by car, to seeking safety. 2 children have fallen and many houses are destroyed. And that's all for today's Songshan News. Thank you for tuning in with us.
We wish you a very pleasant day ahead.
And I'm Josh Ho. For our top story today, Italy earthquake strong tremors shake central region.
You're watching Songshan News. I'm 新市.
And I'm Ting Yugan.
For our top story today, the response to the migration and refugees. Global leaders attended two meetings on September 19 to 20 on the issues of migration and refugees. At the first meeting, 194 member states cited a set of non-binding commitments named the New York Declaration. Then, Obama hosted the summit, hoping to persuade each country to double global resettlement numbers, making refugees able to work and study in school. Although global leaders cited the declaration, and agencies have watered it down as a result of the draft declaration because it contains few concrete pledges. In another summit, the U.S. scribbled over a section saying that forced detention can never serve the best interests of children, while Western European countries removed the clause that would obligate government to resettle specific numbers of people. Before holding the summit, the President Obama has announced that the U.S. will take in 110,000 refugees next year in the hope of driving other countries to follow his lead. With so many refugees across the globe, they need our help rather than words without action.
And our another top story today, international U.S. politics. Nowadays, the U.S. and Russia's relations might be worse than ever. Russia, which is an anti-American country, is constantly instead of work with the U.S., fighting with U.S. forces in Ukraine and Syria. Some people have suggested that if Donald Trump, the candidate of the U.S. president, be elected, may become puppet of Russia President Vladimir Putin along with Donald Trump. Two world-class bullies become best buddies, but will this really happen? In some ways, Trump is similar as President Putin. The former dreams of the popularity to be secured by waging wars. The latter constantly reminds people of the nuclear power possesses. And President Putin is seen as a model for Trump, but an enemy as well. A nuclear war may happen if Trump becomes the president of the U.S. So, will Russia become a friend with the U.S.? It seems no, even though Donald Trump is elected. The relations between U.S. and Russia is unavoidably getting worse.
And that's all for today's Songshan News.
Thank you for tuning in with us.
We wish you a very pleasant day ahead. With so many refugees next year, hoping to follow
Puppet of the U.S.
Good morning, you're watching Songshan News. I'm Vanessa Chu.
I'm Richard Ling.
Our top story today is Belarus leads about 70 nations to block LGBT rights in UN cities plan. The UN has drawn up new urban agenda in order to cope with the challenges of rapidly growing cities worldwide and to set out guidelines for sustainable urban development in the future. Moreover, the UN plans to include the rights of gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender communities and acknowledge homophobia in the new agenda. However, the plan faced opposition from some countries. Belarus succeeded in leading a group of about 70 nations, including Russia, Egypt, Indonesia, Pakistan, and the United Arab Emirates. To block the plan include LGBT rights in the new agenda. Canada, which had pushed for official recognition of gay rights and homophobia, expressed disappointment at such a result.
Legislation of gender identity for children. In many European countries and the United States, those who wanted to change their genders had to undergo a long period of counseling, hormone replacement, and ultimately sex reassignment surgery if they wanted to have their gender changes legally recognized.
However, in Norway, this disadvantageous legislation was modified recently, which allows not only adults but also children as young as 6 to legally change genders without a doctor's intervention or agreement. This procedure for applying for gender changes in Norway is very simple, because applicants, including children over 6 years old, only need to complete an online form and then return a letter confirming their intention to self-identity as male or female. However, church groups and organizations which advocates for transgender Norwegians have voiced concerns that the law was rushed through, and it could set back progress if it ends up being abused. And that's all for today's Songshan News. Thanks for tuning in with us today. We wish you a pleasant day ahead.
You're watching Songshan English News. I'm Huang Weini.
And I'm presenting.
Cayman Island Deputy Magistrate Wu Chengdian hopes to stimulate development by opening the island to more business from mainland China. He promises to build a bridge from Cayman to mainland and a cruise ship terminal for Chinese ships. According to Wu, the Chinese government should be allowed to buy property on Cayman, and mainland Chinese to use their own currency on the island. So far, Taiwanese government has rejected all of the proposals. Both proposals have also made with mixed response from the locals. Some are worried that the Chinese will ruin the local culture. Others are optimistic about the cultural exchange, and still others are torn between democracy and economic development.
Taiwan tourist bus caught fire on the November 2 National Highway in Taoyuan County, killing 26 people, including the driver, the tour guide, and 24 Chinese tourists who had been on their way to the airport to return home. According to Taoyuan Fire Chief Lai Ching-chong, there was not enough time for the victim to escape. In addition, 2 doors of the bus were pressed up against the highway guard rail, making them impossible to open. Although no official word on the cause of fire has been released, it is reported that witnesses saw the bus burst into flames after spinning out of control and smashing into the highway's guardrail. The fire has grown too large for other drivers to put out with fire extinguishers, and despite the rescue team's efforts, all 26 people on board were killed. The accident is likely to cause safety concerns for Chinese tourists who came to Taiwan on cheap cruise terms. And that's all for today's Songshan English News. Thank you for tuning in with us. We wish you a very pleasant day.
You're watching Songshan English News. I'm Lai Ming. And I'm Gui Chenju. The fast fashion brand Zara is accused of stealing designs from independent artists.
Artists involved are now using social media to draw attention to the issue. Adam J. Kurtz, a 27-year-old American writer and designer, has started a website to post pictures of the design Zara has allegedly copied. Adam and a group of artists who also say their work has been copied are discussing taking legal action as a collective group. Some artists have already sent legal letters to Zara.
According to Jerry Bridgewater, a patent lawyer at Baron Warren Records, copyright is infringed if a substantial part of the work is copied, but there is no copyright in the ideas. The party accused of copyright infringements can say they don't think the works are the same or that the works are not original.
So far, the internet's parent company Intertext has denied copyright infringement. They have been in contact with some parties and are working to resolve the problem.
Next, on the night before Christmas Eve in 1888 in the French city of Paris, Vincent van Gogh sliced off his ear lobe for a reason that till today remains a mystery.
all the possible theories, a new book entitled Study of the Soul, Van Gogh and Provence, has an air chapter which suggests another likely motive. He heard wedding bells. The author, Martin Bailey, explains that Van Gogh was afraid of being abandoned by his brother Theo in both an emotional and financial way, for the latter was getting married.
However, the historians have dismissed Bailey's theory, assuming that Van Gogh learned of his brother's engagement long after the ear episode. Bailey insists that based on facts, the news of the wedding certainly reached him prior to the engagement.
Although news of the wedding seemed to be the last straw, Bailey said it was not the sole catalyst. While Van Gogh's own doctors believe he suffered from epilepsy, recent experts have suggested empathy, poisoning, alcoholism, bipolar disorder, and some stroke among other factors.
Self-mutilation might have been the artist's plea for help. An 1893 letter discussing Van Gogh's medical records indicates the Dutch Impressionists suffered from aural hallucinations, and cutting off his ear might have been a fruitless attempt to silence those noises.
That's all for today's Sunshine English News. Thank you for tuning in with us. We wish you a very pleasant day ahead.
Thank you.
Watching Sunshine News. I'm Emily.
And I'm Nina. For our top story today are ultra-marathon runners reunited with missing stray dog.
And Britain hopes to leave the European Union.
And ultra-marathon runners has been reunited with a stray dog that accompanied him through part of a grueling desert race in China. When he first noticed the small tan-colored dog following him, Leonard didn't think the dog would last a single day, but she stayed with him all the way to the finish line. After the race, Leonard believed that it and the dog had a special connection. He called her Gobi and planned to take her back home in Scotland. However, she disappeared somehow during the process of adoption. He returned to China to search for Gobi with her help for a crowdfunding appeal, using culture and the power of social media to track her down. At first, the search came off empty-handed and Leonard began to lose heart. Then, on October 24, Gobi had been found at a local park, and the pair were happily reunited.
After a tight race, 52% of the British have chosen to leave the European Union, voted in favor of the so-called Brexit. The idea of EU emerged after World War II. They hope that a united Europe would be more stable for mutual cooperation between countries. After Britain leaves, all existing pacts between Britain and these nations will have to be negotiated several years. In the short term, there are worries about that Brexit will do to Britain's economy. British currency is already at its lowest level in decades. The Brexit also makes Europe less stable. After the referendum, everyone will see how Britain fares. If there are perceivable benefits, other countries might follow Britain's lead. On the other hand, if Britain struggles going it alone, other nations should reconsider following the UK out. Only time will tell what the future of Europe will look like. And that's for today's Sunshine News.
Thank you for watching. We wish you a very nice day.
Good evening, everyone.
This is Songshan News, and I'm reporter Xu Haowei.
I'm reporter Zhou Tenyu.
Today's headline is Stinky hijacks Florida algae boom, shows three-year government into action. The United States Florida Atlantic coast waterways and coast were a large number of abnormal growths of green algae factors in coverage. The authorities have announced the four coastal countries into a state of emergency. According to local residents, the proliferation of green algae after the deaths, sun exposure, decay, and stench has caused serious environmental pollution and affect the health of residents. Many people have eye redness, runny nose, sore throat, and other symptoms. The local environmental protection department found that the number of poisonous algae in the affected areas was 38 times higher than the set by the World Health Organization. Geologists pointed out that those toxic algae result from the use of phosphorus and nitrogen and other fertilizers in local agricultural land, gardens, and golf courses. Environmental groups and lawyers even give lake catastrophe toilet notoriety. The phosphorus algae pose a threat to human health and the economy, but are more deaths to marine life because it blocks sunlight from penetrating the water and kills creatures that depend on filtering seawater for survival. Thank you.
Thanks to Xu Haowei, reporter. And the next news is Donald Trump and his followers could destroy America even if he loses. Why Donald Trump and his followers could destroy America even if he loses? When we took notice of Trump, we could find that he has a lot of erratic behavior, such as feuding with a baby, insulting a Muslim in America, and laughing at a disabled reporter. What he does are filled with hatred and intolerance, even though Trump is a racist, secessionist, and extremist. This makes Republicans think they might choose a wrong person to represent them and turn to endorse Hillary. But why Trump still can destroy America even if he loses? It is because of Trump's supporters. If Trump loses, they may want to kill Hillary, or next time when the president's election held, Republicans should choose a person who is more radical, or they will lose the people who support Trump and doesn't know if there are still persons who want to support Republic. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You're watching Songshan News. I'm Claire.
I'm Sophia.
For our top story today, Apple's change after Swift complaint. When Taylor Swift speaks, the most powerful company in the world listens. Taylor Swift complained publicly that Apple was not planning to pay royalties of its new music service during the trial period. Then the company immediately changed course and confirmed that it would pay for it within 1 day. Apple's new service, called Apple Music, is set to be released on June 30th. This is a free internet radio station and a media platform that lets artists upload songs, videos, and other content for fans. Apple's service in streaming music has been much anticipated, but it's planned not to pay royalties during its trial period aroused public complaints around the world, saying that the company's terms were unfair. What's more, the criticism from Swift was a bolt out of the blue for Apple before its new product released. At the end, Apple promised that they would pay royalties to record companies and music publishers during the trial period.
The second story is 3 special reaction about winning the Nobel Prize. The shock winner of the prize, who is 75 years old, hasn't acknowledged the win in public. Academy member Per Westberg told Swedish television, "We were aware that he can be difficult, and that he does not like appearance when he stands alone on the stage. If he does not travel on to Stockholm to receive the prize on December 10th, a ceremony marking his career will go ahead as planned." Although Mr. Westberg thought his is unprecedented, but in fact, one person has previously rejected the Nobel Prize before. and one other recipient was distinctly underfilmed by the owner from the Spanish Academy. After noticing that she had won the prize in 2007, having returned from doing her shopping. However, she did attend the ceremony later that year.
And that's all for today's Songshan News. Thank you for tuning in with us. We wish you a very pleasant day ahead.